All right, listener, buckle up because this deep dive is going to take us straight to the soccer field.
But like you've never seen it before.
Exactly. We're talking ancient military strategy.
Sun Tzu's Art of War, to be exact.
You sent this analysis over, and expert, I gotta be honest,
Yeah.
it blew my mind. I mean, who knew Sun Tzu was such a soccer fan?
Well, we probably didn't have soccer in mind back then.
Right, of course, but still, it's uncanny how his principles play out on the field.
That's what makes this analysis so fascinating, right? These timeless ideas.
Timeless is the word. Like, take the opening line. Every battle is won or lost before it's ever fought.
Okay, sounds a little dramatic.
Right. But then they get into teams, and I'm thinking, hold on.
Give me an example.
All right, so you know how some teams analyze the opposing goalkeeper's weaknesses?
Sure, every little edge helps.
Well, this analysis takes it to a whole other level.
Like they're planning for every possible scenario.
Exactly. It's like they're playing 4D chess out there, anticipating every move.
That, my friend, is Sun Tzu's strategic planning in action.
So it's not just about having a game plan. It's about, what, outsmarting your opponent before the game even starts.
Think of it like this. The best teams, they don't just show up and wing it.
They come prepared.
They come with a whole dossier on their rivals.
No way. What kind of stuff are we talking about here?
Formations they favor, players' individual habits, heck, even their psychological tendencies.
Get out of here. Seriously.
Seriously. And they use all that information to control the game right from the first whistle.
That's wild. You know, it reminds me of those teams that just seem to, like, control the field.
They always seem to know what their opponent will do before they do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're always one step ahead. Is that what Sun Tzu was talking about with all that positioning stuff?
Absolutely. Sun Tzu was big on choosing your battles, dictating the terms.
So basically controlling the battlefield.
Exactly. He'd say, why react to your enemy when you can make them react to you?
And that's where formations come in.
You got it. Think about it. Formations like the classic 4-4-2.
That's not just about arranging players, is it?
Not at all. It's about controlling space, denying your opponent opportunities while creating your own.
So it's like that center of the field becomes super important. Whoever controls that controls the whole game.
Like the ultimate chess match, except with a lot more running.
It totally is like chess. I'm thinking back to, what was it? Oh, yeah. Insert example. A famous soccer match or team known for their use of formations to control the midfield. Remember them. They were masters at that.
Exactly. They understood how to manipulate the space to force their opponents into making mistakes.
It's like their whole game plan was based on Sun Tzu's playbook without even realizing it.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Remember, a good general, or in this case, a good soccer team,
Yeah.
they know how to adapt on the fly, which brings us to Sun Tzu's principle of, you guessed it, adaptability.
Okay, so adaptability, we're talking about that thinking on your feet.
Right, exactly. Because let's be honest, soccer can be pretty unpredictable.
Tell me about it. A star player gets injured. The weather takes a turn for the worse. Your opponent pulls some crazy tactic out of nowhere.
And that's where true mastery emerges, how a team responds to the unexpected.
So it's not just about having a plan B, it's about being able to come up with plan C, D, and E on the spot.
Precisely. It's about the players who can seamlessly switch positions,
Yeah.
who can adjust their game plan in a split second.
They're like the Swiss Army knives of the team. And you know, speaking of adaptability, this analysis goes into something I never would have connected to ancient warfare. Deception.
Deception. On the soccer field.
I know, right? Isn't soccer supposed to be all about fair play and whatnot?
Well, so Sun Tzu would argue that all warfare is based on deception and soccer. While not war in the literal sense.
Okay, good point.
It definitely borrows from that playbook.
So you're telling me all those fancy footwork tricks and fakes?
Your step-overs, your Cruyff turns, your elasticos.
Those are all just forms of strategic deception.
Precisely.
It's like those players have been reading Sun Tzu on the sly.
Maybe they have. But in all seriousness, think about some of the most creative players.
Give me an example.
All right, take insert example. A famous soccer player known for their deceptive moves, like Garrincha or Messi. These guys, they are masters of deception. They use their bodies, the ball, even their eyes to mislead their opponents.
Okay, I never thought about it like that, but you're right. They make you think they're going one way, and then boom, they're gone in a flash.
And that's exactly what Sun Tzu was talking about. You create confusion, you sow doubt, and then you exploit it.
So you're saying it's not just tolerated, it's actually encouraged.
Encouraged. It's practically an art form.
Wow, that's amazing. But it also makes you wonder about the ethics of it all, right?
Well, the analysis doesn't really dive into the ethical implications,
Right.
but it does emphasize that this kind of strategic deception is all part of the game.
So it's like all's fair in love and soccer.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, fair enough. But seriously, this is blowing my mind.
And we're just getting started.
It's like they're playing poker with the other team. But instead of cards, they're using their bodies and the ball to bluff their way to victory.
It's a great analogy. And just like in poker, the key is to know when to bluff and when to hold your cards close to your chest.
So how do you, as a player, learn to be more deceptive? Just practice faking people out left and right.
That's part of it, sure, but Sun Tzu would say it's about more than just tricks.
Oh,
It's about knowing your opponent's expectations and then subverting them. It's not about having a bag of tricks.
it's about...
Using those tricks strategically, based on a deep understanding of your opponent's weaknesses.
So it's not just about being tricky.
It's about being smart about it.
Oh, okay, I get it. Kind of like that old saying, know yourself and your enemy, and in 100 battles you will never be defeated. Wait, is that Sun Tzu too?
Bingo, you got it. That's the essence of his knowledge of self and opponent principle.
In soccer terms, that means.
It means true victory comes from knowing your strengths and your opponent's weaknesses.
Okay, that makes sense, but how do you actually figure that out in the heat of the moment? Is it just instinct?
Instinct definitely plays a role, but it's instinct honed through rigorous training.
So practice.
Practice, absolutely, but also, remember that pregame analysis we talked about?
The dossiers and all that.
That's crucial. For example, let's say you've got a striker on the other team who always favors his left foot.
Okay, so you force him to his right.
Exactly. You use that knowledge to your advantage to force him into making a mistake.
So every move, every pass, every feint, it's all informed by this deep well of knowledge.
You got it. It's about understanding your team's dynamics.
Who works well together?
Exactly. Who thrives under pressure and using that knowledge to your advantage.
So it's like having this almost telepathic connection with your teammates,
Mm-hmm.
but it comes from all the hard work you put in beforehand.
That's a great way to put it. It's not magic, it's strategy and preparation.
And speaking of strategy, this analysis talks about unity and leadership as being crucial for success.
Sun Tzu was adamant about that. He believed a cohesive team, unified in purpose, is a force to be reckoned with.
Okay, so we're talking about team spirit, that intangible something that makes a group more than the sum of its parts.
Exactly.
But how do you actually create that? Is it just about having a charismatic captain?
A charismatic captain can definitely help, but this analysis emphasizes that true unity starts at the top.
The coach.
The coach, exactly. Sun Tzu would say a good leader inspires not through fear, but through shared vision, through trust.
Think about those legendary coaches, like, insert example, a famous, perhaps even controversial soccer coach known for their leadership style, like Jose Mourinho or Sir Alex Ferguson.
But yeah, love them or hate them, those coaches knew how to build a team.
A team that fought for each other, that embodied a shared philosophy.
Precisely. They created a mini culture within the team with its own set of values and goals.
But it's not all pep talks and pregame rituals, right? I mean, you can have all the team spirit in the world, but if you don't put in the work...
You're preaching to the choir. That's where Sun Tzu's principle of discipline and training comes in.
So practice makes perfect.
Practice makes permanent. Sun Tzu believed that victory was the result of relentless preparation.
But this analysis suggests it's more than just running drills until you drop.
Oh, absolutely. It's about mental toughness, too.
The mental game.
The mental game is huge. It's about staying focused under pressure,
And
making those split-second decisions when it matters most.
it's like building that mental resilience.
Exactly. Sun Tzu would be proud.
So all those hours on the practice pitch, all those drills,
It's about more than just muscle memory.
it's about training your mind to react instinctively.
To stay calm under pressure, to make the right decisions when it matters most.
It's like that saying, pressure makes diamonds.
Right. Except in this case, we're talking about game-winning goals.
And those incredible saves that leave you speechless.
This analysis argues that discipline training, it's like creating this mental muscle memory.
So when the pressure's on, those players don't even have to think.
They just react.
Yeah.
They rely on their honed instincts.
Which Sun Tzu would say is the mark of a true warrior, or in this case...
A champion soccer player.
Okay, I'm seeing how all these principles fit together. We've got the strategic planning, the adaptability, the knowledge, the unity, the discipline.
It's like building a fortress, brick by brick.
But there's one more principle this analysis digs into, and it's a bit more, well, I don't know how to describe it.
Elusive.
Yeah, elusive. Timing and momentum. I
Yeah.
mean, how do you even factor that into a game plan? Momentum seems so
Well,
unpredictable.
remember how Sun Tzu talked about seizing opportunities?
Yeah, strike when the iron's hot, right?
Exactly. This analysis suggests that recognizing those momentum swings, those shifts in energy,
Hmm.
and capitalizing on them can be just as decisive as any tactical maneuver.
So give me an example. Like you score a goal, the crowd goes wild, your team gets this sudden burst of energy, puts the other team on their heels.
That's a perfect example. But
Yeah,
it's not just about riding that wave of emotion.
it's about,
It's about recognizing when that wave is building
yeah.
and then knowing how to ride it, how to use it to your advantage.
So skilled teams and their coaches, they can actually sense those shifts in momentum.
Like they have the sixth sense, they know when to press their advantage,
When to make a substitution.
when to change their formation to exploit that vulnerability in the other team.
Wow, so they're not just playing the game.
They're playing their opponents,
Yeah,
and the momentum itself becomes like another tool in their arsenal.
that's a great way to put it. They're reading the energy of the game, like those poker players who can spot a bluff a mile away.
Exactly.
Wow, who knew Sun Tzu was hiding the secrets to soccer success all along?
It just goes to show these ancient principles, they're timeless for a reason.
This deep dive has been amazing. I always thought of The Art of War as, well, a book about war.
Right. Not exactly your go-to guide for soccer strategy,
But now I see how its principles apply not just to soccer.
but to so many aspects of life. Business, relationships, even personal growth,
It's like Sun Tzu had this incredible insight into human nature.
and how we strategize, how we compete, how we ultimately achieve our goals.
So, listener, next time you're watching a match, don't just watch the ball. Watch for those subtle strategies at play, those moments of brilliance, those costly blunders. You might be surprised how much Sun Tzu you see unfolding right there on the pitch. And hey, maybe even take a page from his playbook. Apply a little ancient wisdom to your own life. You never know when it might come in handy. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and remember, sometimes the best offense is a well-planned, strategically deceptive, and impeccably timed defense.